All right. Thanks for coming down today, Gabriel. I know you've been in the digital marketing and app store optimization space for many years now. Do you want to give the team a quick rundown of who you are and what you're currently doing or what you've been doing in the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I'm still an SEO guy. I used to do SEO before many, when James was doing wallpapers, websites with wallpapers. And technically, I mean, a long time ago, all my sites of all my clients got kind of like the index because I was doing dodgy things and I lost the will to live and I decided I was going to do something different. And I had a few options of what to do. And one of them was trying to discover like a new SEO doing something. And one of them was TripAdvisor. The other one was cloud, when cloud was something was important. And the other one was apps. How do apps rank in the app store? And I started doing the whole thing with the apps without knowing anything about apps. So I interview people that knew about it like 7 years ago. And I became kind of like the authority about how do apps rank in the app store. That's called ASO. And technically that's what I do, I mean, for a living. So I actually train teams in companies to do their ASO internally. So yeah.
Yeah. So like how long have you been doing app store optimization for now? Over 10 years, would you say, or even longer?
I think over 6 years. I think it exists in the last 7 years. My first video was in 2014. Yeah, it's going to be like 7 or 8 years. It's crazy.
Okay. What are the most important factors for app store optimization? Say we've got a client that comes to us and then they say, like, we want app store optimization. What are the most important ranking factors for ASO?
So here's the twisted part. Okay, the twisted part is paid traffic. Okay, it means that just by basic optimizing something is nothing will change. So a little bit like when you get a client that tells you we want to optimize the content, you will at some stage have to mention link building. Yeah. Okay, there has to be link building. No, James, we don't want link building. We just want to do content. So it's not going to work. So there's going to be keyword research part. I will talk about that also. There's other factors that we can optimize, but there needs to be certain, live in the app. It means reviews and downloads. Something needs to be happening. If the app is big, like there's some pretty big apps, the ASO will be, highly effective. That is like if you technically have a client that is, one of the top 100 companies in Australia, when they come in, you go, well, it's an authority domain name. Like we can do anything. You start laughing like, yeah, we will rank for that keyword. Because it's not that you're amazing, it's because the domain name is amazing. So successful apps are going to be more successful in ASO than other ones. But the things that are important are keywords, obviously. But the problem is that we have the App Store works in a different way than Google Play. So iOS, Apple works in a way where they don't care about search because they're not a search company. And Google actually works with search. So both of them work in a completely different way. They have no correlationship, both of them.
So what are the most important factors, would you say, like reviews, title of the app, like engagement factors, like what are the main ranking factors? Because we don't really do a lot of app store optimization. Yeah. That's why I'm sure everyone's curious. Like, what are some? So
there's a few things. Reviews allows an app to get out of a sandbox. Okay, so when you put in an ASO tool, you put a keyword like racing game, it will tell you there's 4,000 apps that are in the app store with racing games. In reality, there's almost 30,000 games for racing games. Not all of them rank. So reviews is like the way that the app store managed to say, okay, if there's 1,000 reviews, this app is real. Believe it or not, reviews is one of the most difficult things to fake in the App Store. So the App Store uses that as a way to protect themselves a little bit. So reviews is vital. Then obviously download, and like in link building, download speed. So how many downloads are you getting? And then it's going to be the keyword you're targeting. The title has a huge weight. In the download based on the keyword. Now, here's the most weird thing in the world with ASO. With Apple, your ranking increases when someone downloads the app based on that keyword. Yeah, it's like the chicken and the egg problem. So if you want to, get ranking for, fitness app, you need to get people to search for fitness app and then download your app.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
Here comes the even most dodgy part. Google tells you when you do SEO, hey, if you're bidding for Google Ads, it's a different department. In fact, I think it's actually a different building in Google. Okay, it has nothing to do with us. Okay, Apple tells you the opposite. It's like, if you're bidding for the keyword on search ads, we will give you a brownie point for organic increase.
Yeah.
So that is how dodgy this is. So what that means is I can actually bid for a keyword and get more organic position for that keyword just because I'm bidding for it. So there's a level of unfairness in the app industry. Okay. That means that if someone is bidding for your keywords, they can actually increase organically eventually for those keywords.
Okay. So there's correlation between paid traffic in the App Store and your organic rankings.
Yes.
Is there restrictions around what you can bid on in terms of ads in App Store? Like with Google Ads, there's a lot of restrictions.
I mean, I think there's potentially things with crypto, for example, and with health. I mean, depends on Apple policies. Apple will be a bit more grumpy with that, but there's no protection for copyrights. So it means I can bid for any app. In fact, Apple consultants, salespeople, they suggest that you bid for we call them branded keywords. So 70% of the search terms in the App Store are branded keywords. So it means when you're looking for a dating app, I mean, right now, it's funny. I mean, I'm working in the dating industry. When you're looking for a dating app, you don't put find love, okay, or how to get married. You're putting Tinder or Bumble. You're putting those keywords already. So Apple has no problem with you bidding for Tinder, going against Tinder, and Bumble bidding for. I mean, it's literally, a jungle out there.
Okay, so there's no restrictions on what you can bid on in the App Store. Like, it's a free for all. Like, there's no trademark restrictions. Can you put like the keywords in your ads for the App Store? Are you allowed to use the Tinder? Like, if you say, for example,
great question.
My site's gabrielsdating.com or whatever, and then I want to start bidding on Tinder, are you allowed to use that word in your your title of your ad?
No, at all. So we don't have ads the way that you're looking at them. What we have is screenshots. So we call them custom pages. So that is a new feature with Apple, and that is a brilliant one. So the way it works is this: presume that you're a fan of soccer, okay, football in Europe. You're a huge fan, and you're looking for a fantasy football, game or app. So what you're going to do is you're going to put Chelsea FC. What I can do that is extremely ninja, and if this was an option with Google, would be amazing. I can show you a screenshot that is blue and says Chelsea FC football, fantasy football. Okay. In reality, I'm just showing you the screenshot because you put Chelsea FC. So if you put Manchester, United, my screenshot is going to be red. And it means my conversion is going to increase dramatically. We can do that with screenshots. Now, it's a lot of work, okay? Talking about graphic design properly, but we cannot change keywords in titles. That's not allowed because the app name cannot change. We don't have an ad. So we're not saying download the best date. No, we don't write anything with ads. It's just the screenshot is what does everything. And that's the next part of ASO is screenshots. It's conversion optimization. That is huge. Okay. Yeah.
How important are your icons and your screenshots? Because I've done a little bit of ASO in the past, and I remember people always emphasize that, they're always like, you got to get your screenshots right. You got to get the icons.
Insanely important. So now what we do when we're doing, corporate ASO is, for example, I just finished working for this health app, fitness calorie counter. My job was to analyze any change that Weight Watchers did or MyFitnessPal did. Okay, so as soon as they change a screenshot, I will be notified. And the reason is, why they change the screenshot? Why is the reason? And let me give you an example, okay? So if you're going to be bidding for a keyword like calorie counter, okay, it's highly likely, you may think this is crazy, that you are vegetarian, okay? And that you're female, and you're between 25 to 35 in the US, and that you're not Latino, okay? So what that means is we're going to give you a screenshot where is people like you on the screenshot, and puts veggies. We're not going to put bacon on the screenshot, because if you see bacon, you bail out of the download.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is the decision that you make to download an app takes 1 second. You don't go like, I'm going to think about if I'm going to download this app. You don't think that, you just click on it. So that's part of the conversion optimization. And another thing that you do is you can also split test everything. Now, Google, because it's a more proper company than Apple, has a tool called Google Experiments that allows me to test anything I want, okay? Now, the problem is if you're a poor app company, you need traffic to do split testing. I mean, you know this based on, I mean, we don't do so much split testing on SEO, okay, but we can do a lot of split testing with apps, okay? So we can actually test how you do compared to another one, okay? Or how does it work in this case versus this icon? And in many cases, the decision why people download an icon is completely rational. It's not based on the branding department. So you hire a graphic design company, they make this icon, they're making it because they think it's lovely, but there's no correlation with conversion. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing, I just want to go back to the reviews. Like, I see a lot of companies offering like money. They're like, we'll give you $50 for a review. Like, please give us a review on the App Store. We'll give you $50 credit. Is that allowed? Are you allowed to incentivize reviews on Apple? I know on Google you're not allowed to, but what's the rules with incentivizing reviews to drive up reviews numbers? Because there's a lot of apps I'm seeing recently, they're offering cash bonuses for reviews. Is that a gray area?
It's super gray. You're not allowed to do that. What you can actually do is you can incentivize the bad reviews not going to the App Store. So one of the things that is very common in the industry is a pop-up will appear said, hey, do you like the app? And if you put, no, I hate it, I will send you, right, to a customer support form. If you put, I'm loving it, I'm going to send it to the App Store. Okay.
Review gating. Yeah. So you're allowed to do review gating.
But you're not allowed to incentivize. Now, again, it's very difficult for the App Store to prove that you're doing this. It will be easy for you to buy reviews. You can actually buy reviews like in the same way we can buy links or we can buy reviews for Google Business. We can do that. Is it effective? To a certain point. I mean, if your app is completely new and you have no reviews, having 20 reviews is better than having no reviews. Yeah.
Okay. So we know reviews is important. We know the screenshots are important. We know bidding on relevant terms is super important because there's correlation between the ads and the listings. I didn't know that. What else is important in Gabriel's playbook for ASO?
So the first thing is you go with keyword research is the first step, right? And understanding the keyword research is that we don't have the long tail keyword, okay? So imagine this, imagine that the long tail keyword in Google, tomorrow Google does this crazy experiment where they're going to auto-correct your long tail keyword before you finish writing it. Okay, imagine that, it will be a catastrophe, okay? So it means that you're writing something, where to buy, and automatically it's like, where to buy an ice cream. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I want to put something different. So the long tail keyword in the App Store is maximum, absolutely maximum 3 words. It's never going to go further. So the first thing to understand is what are the keywords you want to go for? So we don't have keywords that are very long. So usually what the keyword research is interrupting people. Okay, so I know that you're looking, so let me give you an example. I can't say the name of the company, but I mean, you guys are in Sydney, so you take it every single day. So I optimize the #1 taxi company in Australia, right? Mm-hmm. There's not many keywords for taxi, okay? But potentially you're looking for your Opal card. And if you're looking for Opal card or for tram, it's a little bit likely that you may be thinking about traveling, so I can actually interrupt you and show you a taxi app. Okay, that's usually the work that works with the App Store. We don't have that intention as precise as SEO. In SEO, you find golden long tail keywords where you think, oh my God, this is the money keyword. We don't have money keywords in the App Store. The money keywords are super competitive and are very obvious. So part of the keyword research is finding those keywords that you have a chance. And that's the most difficult part. Do you actually have a chance? So right now you have no chance to rank #1 for fitness app. No chance, ever. Doesn't matter who you are. You will never get that ranking. So is what kind of keywords you can actually do. So keyword research is going to be super important.
So you got to look at like supplementary keywords, it sounds like. So that's, you got to spend a lot of time doing keyword research to find supplementary keywords that you can then target.
Exactly. And also, is the keyword a keyword that is going to bring paid downloads? So, for example, so if I'm looking for an app, I mean, fun app is absolutely useless. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm looking for F-16 simulator, I'm going to buy that stuff because I'm being so nerdy that keyword is, if I find an F-16 simulator, I'm going to download it. So the key point is, what exactly are the keywords that are going to really convert in paid acquisition? Because don't forget that paid acquisition in the App Store is pretty damn expensive. So you don't have a lot of chance to muck around with like, oh, we got the wrong keyword.
What type of CPCs are we talking about, Gabriel? Like, are we talking big dollars for certain industries like fitness and finance, like $5 a click, $10 a click or more?
We're talking about, so the top invoicing apps, okay? I mean, like Invoice to Go, the other one that I used to be my client, so I can't say it, the Competition of Quickbooks, those guys are willing to pay, I mean, easily $35 per click.
Wow, so big dollars.
Yeah, because don't forget that once you move all your invoices to a new platform, you have to be mentally unstable to leave, right?
Exactly, they get you.
Exactly, you're going to be there forever. So they're willing to do that. Now, what is horrible, I mean, in the App Store is what we call brand protection. And this is a massive conversation with big companies. So the perfect example that I talk about this is Nike and Adidas. Okay, and Tinder and Bumble. Those two cases are insane. So they're bidding for their own keywords for the other brand name, and the sky is the limit. So if I was going to bid tomorrow for Nike, it'll be $45 per click. Okay, now who inflated the cost? Adidas, and then Nike went on top, and then Adidas, and then Nike went on top. So on those kind of brand keywords, the sky is the limit, and the App Store has no problem with that. They actually encourage that because those companies do those keywords to protect their brand.
What about Black Hat App Store optimization? Is there Black Hat strategies? Like you see people that have those farms of like phones on a wall.
Yeah, so in my LinkedIn profile, I actually did a case where, I mean, it's documented the ROI of Black Hat. And there could be ROI if your app has a great conversion and you have a very clear, very well-defined monetization of your app. So the way it works is with Black Hat is I'm going to pay Russia bots to download my app based on one keyword, okay? And I'm actually going to increase ranking. And I did, I mean, I did with boxing timer, okay? This is a very niche, okay? If you do boxing, you need a boxing timer, okay? So went from position 37 to position 4. That is pretty damn nice to be able to do that because it's good traffic. Now, do you find an ROI for that? I don't know if the ROI is so clear because it's expensive. The experiment cost $1,000 and it took 6 days. Now, the difference between SEO is I'm going to do Black Hat is like no idea if it's going to, when is it going to work? With the App Store, it's going to be pretty damn fast. That's one of the biggest difference with SEO and ASO. Now, the other difference that is awesome for me is there's no penalty. Okay, so if I make a mistake, don't worry. I mean, we just revert. Nothing happens. There's never drama. Okay?
What about if you're buying reviews? Like I see so many companies doing ASO or doing App Store shenanigans where they're paying for reviews. If someone reported you, is there a penalty for paid reviews or do you just get a slap on the wrist?
So very good question. So the reporting is a mess, number one. Recently, the App Store has been able to detect that, Apple, and they will send you an email. Now, here's the very interesting thing how two companies work. Google gives you 3 warnings that are automatic. It means the algorithm, the formula. Once the 3 get triggered, same day, same week, or same year, you're out. But you're out of the App Store means your account is out. Your developer account disappears. It's like gone. Bye, disappears. Apple will suspend your app. That is a huge point because when I was doing apps, I was breaking copyrights all the time. So I was building trivia apps of The Simpsons, trivia apps of Modern Family. So Fox News, okay, the Fox, company will find my app they will send a letter, cease and desist letter to Fox, to Apple. Apple will contact me and I will have 45 days to reply, and then they will take down my app.
Yeah.
Okay. With Google, Google automatically will suspend you based on terms and conditions very, very fast.
What's the difference between the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, like in terms of like ranking factors? Is there much difference? Is it like, what are the key differences?
So Apple is more anal towards the privacy than Google is. Okay, yeah. So in Google, the uninstall factor is going to be more important. Okay, so you download, you uninstall it, that's going to kill you. But also Google has the LSI, the linguistic semantic indexing, right? So they know that if your app is about cars, vehicles, okay, or trucks, or driving or racing are related. So if your app is an authority in Google, you can rank for a lot more freaking keywords than Apple. Apple gives you 100 characters, that is nuts, okay? And that's it, okay? I mean, those are 100 characters. So imagine you for a client that you have 100 characters and a title to come up with keywords. Not only that, every word is a comma. So you go diet, comma, you think vegetarian, you go, holy cow, it's a long keyword. Should we use it? Because you just use 12 characters of your 100 characters. With Google, there's no character list, it's a description that is literally like an article. So imagine that you're doing a whole optimization on one article. Yeah.
Okay. What about building links to a Google Play Store location? Does that even work? Or
100%. Okay, so there's two things that happen here is, I mean, what people forget is you can do SEO to, a Google Play listing and ranking Google.
Yeah.
Okay, for the word app.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. Now, don't forget that you cannot get penalized for doing that, because guess what? It's a Google property.
Yeah.
Google is not going to ban their own properties, right? So you can always, when you do go to Ahref and you put any keyword and the word app, it's highly likely that number one position is a Google Play listing, okay, in many cases. So does it work for link building itself? In position, not so much. There has been tests and tests and tests. There's no data to prove. What I can actually do is the traffic from those links can actually help, okay, the pinging. Because with Google Play, don't forget that works like Google. So when you leave a review, for example, and you reply, you're sending a ping back to the server. So Google goes, there's something happening here. This app is alive. What the App Store right now is moving is to understand the apps that are dead. So if there's no reviews, there's no pinging, there's no download, they go like, we're not going to put it here. And that's the whole strategy for them. It's trying to eliminate apps. That's why more updates of iOS is smart for the App Store, because many apps disappear, they're gone.
What are the most competitive markets for ASO? Like, apart from finance and fitness, by the sounds of it, what else is highly, highly competitive? Sounds like dating.
So we have Casino, that is insane. Casino is owned by Israeli companies like GSN and Platica. They're huge companies, and they're masters of anything to do with split testing. Okay, they're like magnificent. They're fast, they can change, and they have portfolios of 30, 40, 50. So these guys are always looking for trendy keywords. So trendy keywords, for example, is if I know there's a Netflix special coming in, okay, here's a perfect example. For sure they realized that Batman was coming. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's right now Arkham slot machine, okay, or the Riddle slot machine or something like that, because they're anticipating the trends in a ninja way. They know what's happening. They know what's coming in Netflix. So they will build these keywords, because you download stuff based on the mood of the time. Okay, so those ones are super popular. And the ones that are extremely popular, are also, anything to do with health right now is huge. What is very difficult is games. So I don't work with games. None of my peers, we don't do games, okay? Unless it's like Disney, okay? I did Elmo, all the apps of Elmo, I didn't, because kids apps are easy to understand. What do? You're counting. It's not a kids app, it's you're learning to count. But when it's a normal average game, ASO is completely useless, because usually games in the App Store are stupidly generic. It's a ball jumping in the field of grass. How can you optimize these? There's no search volume for these. And that's the problem with many clients. They come to you, they explain what the app does, and you go, how do people find these? And they go, I have no idea, because they're solving a problem that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that can be a problem. And it's the same, it can be the same problem with SEO too. You know, like someone has a new product that they're bringing out, and then there's no search like demand for that product. You know, I've talked to companies before, and they're like, we've developed this, it's going to be huge. But then I'm like, you don't know what people are going to search for to find this, you know?
Exactly. And in the App Store is more difficult even. Exactly. Okay.
You got to look for multiple secondary markets and test all sorts of stuff. And then think about who their potential buyers are and target keywords related to that. It does happen in SEO too.
In this case, for example, right, I'm working with an app that is a recommendation app based on TikTok videos. Okay, so but it's not TripAdvisor, but it's the closest, but it's not about that, it's about pubs and restaurants in trendy places. So it's a nightmare because you can go for many little keywords, but whatever you're searching, that's not what you're looking for. So that happens so much in the App Store that people are coming up with cool trend ideas that there's no search volume for that. So the only way for them to get is social or content or PR, but it's not going to be anything to do with organic.
Okay. Another question that I have, like, what tools do you recommend people should get if they want to do ASO? Like, what are the top tools in the market? You know, I've seen App Annie and some other tools around. What's the must-have tools that you need? Like, what do you need to, like, for normal SEO, they need SEMrush, Ahrefs, et cetera, Screaming Frog. What does Gabriel need to do ASO?
So App Annie is now called data.ai, and the reason why they changed their name is because they came out on fraud because they were faking data of downloads for investors, for app companies. So app companies were paying. That's crazy. So we don't use App Annie. One of the things I use is called Mobile Action. Another one is called App Radar. And what you want to do is any ASO tool has two features, like exactly like an SEO: keyword research, okay, and tracking. Okay, tracking, I mean, the keywords that you want to go for, but also you're trying to track the competitors. So that's the main two features that you're looking for is keyword research that you can actually help a little bit, and then, I mean, tracking. And all the tools do that. So Mobile Action, App Radar, there's other thing called App Figures. But the funny thing is I start my process with Ahref. So when I get any kind of app, I do Ahref. I download an insane bulk amount of keywords, and I just paste that in the ASO tool and see what sticks. I was like, oh, people are looking for this in the App Store. Interesting. So I try to do that initially to come up with keywords because the keyword research tools in the App Store are very limited. Okay, the databases are very poor. If it's about something popular, like fitness app, they have a good database. If it's something weird, especially for Australia, it's like impossible.
Okay, no, that's good to hear. Like, I guess you got to use data sources from everywhere. But
and another thing to talk about is interesting is you have to have a context of the App Store. So here's a perfect example. If you have an app, you got a client, I'm a chef, this app helps you to manage your kitchen. You put the word kitchen, you're going to get so excited. It's like, oh my God, kitchen, great. All the games in simulation are kitchen simulators, okay? Cooking kitchen. Okay, Gordon Ramsay kitchen game. So you have this volume that you're pumped because you go, that's amazing. This is a great keyword. No, it's not. It's a game. So many of the search volume that we have in the App Store is because a keyword became trendy. It doesn't mean that it's actually, I mean, search based on that specific topic.
No, that's interesting as well. But I mean, I want to open up the floor to some questions now as well. Does anyone from the team have any questions for Gabriel? Anything about ASO that we've talked about, or anything that you'd want to ask Gabriel, because he is the ASO expert?
The ninja.
The ASO ninja.
Yeah, I got a question, Gabriel. I was just wondering, when you're doing keyword research, is there any like scope for competitor analysis at all?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So what we're trying to do with keyword research is to find the apps that are ranking top position that we call it zombie apps. So it means that you go and find a keyword that you like. You're like, this is a good keyword for my client. And then you go, what? Is that app ranking top position? Was wrong. So one of the things that we're talking in ASO is we're looking for the WTF moments where you go, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm actually always looking for the ranking that is the weak ranking. Now, ASO Tools gives you this ridiculous thing called difficulty score. But then you see number 1, number 2, number 3 is Nike, Adidas, and Puma, and the difficulty score is low. It's like, yeah, but it's low, but those 3 are impossible for me to outrank. So what you're trying to identify is how small is the app that is in top position. I think that is the most important part. Are these apps that are in top position super authority apps? And the easiest way for you to see the super authority apps is, number 1, in Google Play. Google Play does this weird thing of telling you the number of downloads. That is very strange. I don't know why. And number 2 is the number of reviews. So when you see an app in top position that has 1 million, reviews that they exist, you just literally bail out and go, okay, that's impossible to compete for.
Nice, thanks.
Yeah, cool. Another thing that's important to understand is that in many cases, the App Store will put, an app that is lower authority in a position 4 or 5, just because it's just the keyword and that's it. And those are opportunities when you go, oh my God, if these guys are here, we could actually achieve that if we actually just optimize the app. So you sometimes you get very easy wins in the App Store, especially if they have never been any keyword research done and you can just optimize for the first time.
Yeah, no, here's a random question, Gabriel, but what do you think's harder, ASO or traditional SEO? It sounds like ASO is easier from the points that you've made, but it sounds like it can be super competitive too.
I think it's easier to make an SEO client happier, initially, okay? ASO goes to a plateau. So my business model is very weird. My business model is I don't keep clients on a monthly retainer. I work with them for 3 months, 4 months, then they go away, because you go into plateau eventually. It's like, hey, there's nothing else that we can do. We can keep working in conversion optimization. That is a different platform. It's completely different story. It's more psychology and stuff like and branding. But to a certain point, ASO will arrive to a point there's nothing else you can do. And that's why agencies kind of get clients with ASO and then they move them to something else eventually. SEO, there's more updates with SEO. There's more drama, like, oh my God, there was an update. We lost the ranking yesterday. There's more drama. We don't have that with ASO at all. We don't care because no one knows. And that's another thing that's interesting, is like no one has a clue, because it's an industry that goes way faster. So you have an e-commerce store, they can wait 3 or 4 months. An app company cannot wait 3 or 4 months, because maybe in 4 months, the app idea is useless. So yeah, everything goes way faster.
What's the average spend that a company needs to invest to get some traction on with ASO, like for paid ads and stuff, that's going to have an impact on their organic?
From $10,000 per month, it's a decent budget in search ads to start in the US. If you're going to go for the US, but depends. If your target is with one target Mexico, you can do a lot of damage with $10,000 because it's going to be pretty cheap. The traffic there. So it's mainly how aggressive they want to go. Okay, and in many areas you can dominate an area if no one is doing paid traffic with search ads. So it is possible if you know exactly what you're targeting. There's some niches out there that are very quiet, that may sound kind of like weird, but there was a case study of this guy that built a hamster app, and he was bidding for all the hamster keywords, and people were laughing. I was like, wait, this keyword has traffic. People have hamster apps to manage their hamster. So there's opportunity out there, but it's a very expensive game because app companies, the ones that work, are not profitable, and there's a lot of investment on the back end, like a lot of investment. So the game is like, do we have to bid on this? Let's bid. That's the way they think.
What about supplementary traffic to drive downloads, like using email lists and display ads and remarketing to drive people to download the app? You see a lot of companies, once they get you on the email list, they start spamming the hell out of you to sign up to their app or download it and whatnot. I guess that has a positive impact too, right?
Yeah, the biggest opportunity for an app company is also SEO, it's content marketing, okay? And there's a great company, my first client is Vivino, that is an awesome app, everyone should have it. And it allows you to scan the bottle of wine and tells you if it's good or bad. And all their traffic comes from Google. Because what they're allowed to do is they manage to leverage the content of the app inside a website, and they get all the traffic that is organic. Companies don't do that. The ones that are crushing it do it. They have a way that generate content. But many companies, you have to remember, there's no content. Now, Uber, for example, they're doing content, okay? But when you think about many app companies, there's no content in the app itself. So they have to go out there, build a content marketing plan, and they don't want to do that. It's a very long process to do SEO, you know that. Very long process to do content. And app companies are addicted to paid traffic. Addicted. Okay.
So in content, you're talking about like 17 best wine apps, and then your Vivino wine is like #1. Is that the type of content you're talking about? Like,
or you write content like top 15 Spanish wines in the Vivino blog. Yeah. Okay, so you're targeting Spanish wines or best Spanish wine. You go there now because I landed there. I can hook you up on my email list. I'm going to retarget you until you die. Okay, so that's another option, right? So yeah, and that works if your app is niche. If your app is a game, there's no what kind of content are you going to build for a game? It's going to be very, very difficult. Okay, and that's what you see, that when you see the profit of the biggest apps right now, you see top 100 of most profitable apps. The games are mainly like niche games for kids. People like us that would pay for kids. Apps. But mainly they are, business to consumer apps. Yeah, this is no entertainment. It's actually recurrent SaaS business. App companies are now SaaS business, all of them. The one-time payment of an app is a very strange idea.
Yeah, you want to get people on a recurring payment with any type of app, I'm guessing, like a invoicing app or something else. You want to try to sign them up to something where you continuously get the revenue coming in. But it's been very insightful today, Gabriel. I really appreciate your time. Do you have any other final points that you'd like to share with the viewers for our YouTube or the team that's on the call today about ASO or?
Yeah, it's actually the easiest way is to play a little bit with an ASO tool. They all offer free trial. And it's actually, when you do SEO, you kind of laugh a little bit about the keyword suggestions. But it showcases how basic the App Store is, and how if you actually go back and try to adapt to the way SEO used to be. If you have the kind of mindset, it's a good idea to give it a crack. And yeah, you can actually make some progress. So yeah.
Where can people find you if they want to get some ASO services, or they just want to call you and have a chat? What's the best way to get in contact with Gabriel?
I just recovered my account from LinkedIn because I got suspended last week. So I recovered my LinkedIn account last week. So you can find me on LinkedIn or on Facebook. I'm all over Facebook, so you can actually find me very easily. It's only one of me.
Okay, no, really appreciate your time today, Gabriel, and thank you for all the fantastic tips. It's been
Thanks for having me, man.
Chat.
Thank you, man. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
See you, man. Bye.